I've been a Prince of Persia fan for as long as I've been playing video games. I started playing these games on a PS2 at my cousin's house, and I've been hooked ever since. I recently bought the games on Steam and started another playthrough of the original trilogy, which I consider the best the series has to offer, as these are all classics in my book. All this is why it has been very frustrating waiting for a new entry to this series since 2010. We have had teasers and rumors and even kind of cancelled remakes, which honestly made me lose hope. During the Summer Games Fest, I saw the trailer for this game, a side-scrolling Prince of Persia game by Ubisoft, seeming to play more like the classic versions of Prince of Persia. After waiting an entire decade, I was very disappointed as I wanted a new AAA entry to this franchise, and I wasn't alone in this feeling, as the game wasn't really loved after that showcase. But some people did get to play it and they said it was good, and for a while there were people saying that all we had to do was wait and play it. They were right. Now, this isn't a review, I will do that once I have played the game in its entirety, but this is more of my early thoughts from the game's playable demo, which everyone can try in the link in the description, by the way. This game is a metrroidvania style game, so you can make your own path through these levels and progress in different ways. Unlike all the other Prince of Persia games, this game doesn't actually feature the prince himself, although I'd forgive you if you didn't realize that. The prince has gone missing and it's your job to find him, so you hone your skills and get better upgrades and weapons to take on a lot of enemies that you will face as you dash and platform your way through these interesting and very detailed levels. But what was the real standout for me here was the combat, which was very fluid, and this is the best word to describe it because everything linked together so smoothly. It definitely took me some getting used to, but when you started comboing, this really gets interesting. I'm not even a good player, so I can only imagine what skilled players will be capable to do in about a month from now. But what I did pull off here was fluid in its movement, the way you can bounce enemies around, switch weapons, and use parries, which is easily the coolest part of this combat experience, because when you land a perfect parry, you get this super satisfying and very flashy cutscene that feels like it was pulled right out of an anime, killing the enemy off entirely. The variety of meaningful upgrades on display here let you customize your experience, allowing you to get health bottles or make those bottles more efficient so you don't need to drink as many, take less damage from enemies, or unlock new ways to fight entirely. Ultimately, I know these ability choices will definitely impact how difficult the experience might be. I even found items that were just for flat out health upgrades or reducing the amount of damage you take as a whole. Combat aside, this is generally the best outcome for us Prince of Persia fans, aside from a new AAA entry, and I feel that way because this feels like a celebration of all the games that came before, merging the different aspects from all the previous games together that really bleeds into the level design, with the main character exploring hallways and tile sets that have the same designs found in the original trilogy. The enemy outfits and even the prince's outfit are very similar to the ones that were in the Sand of Time games, if not identical, and honestly, it makes this game feel like an homage to all those games, and I still feel like it's some kind of continuation or addition to those games in some way. It genuinely feels like a PS2 game in the best ways possible, with the platforming, the sense of exploration, and the combat style here. It just feels very video game. In a generation where all games are these cinematic set-piece heavy interactive and almost movies now, not that those things are bad, this just feels very classic and something that's from a different era. But it could just be the nostalgia talking here, because I did have a big smile on my face while I was playing this game, as I was just thinking about my childhood. When it came to the general exploration, having the freedom to go where you wanted made this side-scroller not feel so boxed in. It actually feels more like an open world Souls game, with bonfire-esque trees and cool loot and even hidden items waiting for you to discover them later on. I'm really looking forward to seeing how much there is to unravel here from the game's level design. The difficulty I felt here was somewhat challenging in my experience, but I will say, keep in mind I am a new player, and of course challenge is subjective, but I would consider myself okay at most games, and yes, you can die very easily in this game if you aren't really paying that much attention. On top of this, there was also a good amount of enemies in this demo, so I get the sense this game will have a good amount of enemy variety, because there were a fair amount of them in here, and honestly they forced me to adapt and take a different approach each time I found one, so I'd love to see just how many enemies there are actually in this game. The traversal and puzzling sections these games are known for also make a return, with all sorts of weird traps being in your path and you having to maneuver them. The game has also added different mechanics like using new weapons from this game to platform and climb through certain levels. Now, I played this game on controller, but honestly, it feels like it was made for the Steam Deck and other handhelds, as I can already imagine myself playing this on the train or during my morning commute. And I have to say, I'm actually so impressed and surprised by just how fun this is, and now I'm waiting for it to release so I can pick up from where I left off. But in the meantime, I will be practicing combos and waiting for the game to drop. I also don't feel like Ubisoft has delivered anything this strong in a while, so judging by the fact that the critics who played this seem to really like it, I'd say this is a big win for them this year. All this positive attention on Prince of Persia is a good thing, and I'm sure the interest and sales of this game could play a part in this franchise's future going forward, as Ubisoft kind of need another big hitter, seeing as a lot of people are starting to get tired or a little bit burnt out of the constant Assassin's Creed games. So hopefully all things go well here and we get a new AAA entry, or we get more of this. Either way, I'm just happy that there are more Prince of Persia games on the way, and we are getting good ones at that. Now, I know I haven't criticized anything because this is in part a video made for fanboying Prince of Persia, and because my full in-depth review for the title will be coming when I actually finish the full game. So stay tuned for that by subbing, and see ya!